All right, to watch this video for Thursday, February 15th. Now, while I'm not smart enough to give the all clear signal, like everything's fine now, but I am gonna say this, go out on a limb a little bit. I think today was extremely bullish. All right, so we got these huge wide range days behind us. Then we had a nice reversal day here. We had a bounce here, and then an inside day, and then a push higher again. But not just that. Let me go to intraday and show you what happened this morning. This was pre-market, right? When inflation numbers or whatever it was came out, and this happened, right? Pre-market. So I'm starting to think, the market's not open yet, and here we go again, right? More chaos. So I've got to be all cautious. And then you'll see some volume to identify there's the opening bell. So in pre-market, then it opens about here, and then look what happens. Just completely erases that nasty pre-market sell-off, which is probably in good part an algorithm that got ahead of itself. You see exaggerated moves from the algos all the time now. But anyway, so to me, after that, I really feel extremely bullish about the market again. And I think most of the chaos is behind us. That's not me blowing any kind of all clear signal, but I really liked what I saw today. So the watch list the daily looks decent now on the SPY. I mean, again, this may end up being just a blip on the screen, after 6 months from now. But it was absolutely relevant while it was going on, and we still need to be cautious. All right, having said all that, I'm going to go into the watch list for tomorrow, but I want to share a couple calls I made today. If you remember, I'll take today's candle out of it. HTGM was on my watch list, and you had the big pop here and then an inside day. Well, look what happened. Now, this isn't just me saying, oh, so look, my idea was right. It doesn't matter that it went up again. We can all identify charts that look good, and then the next day they have a big day. It's all about whether or not you can get in at low risk, all right? So bear with me a second here. All right, I had to take the pre-market and after hours off of this. So let's go to 5-minute candles, and I'm going to show you exactly. I mean, this is pretty simple. Anyone who had this on watch probably saw this happening. But this is right here, this red candle is how it opened. So there's no guessing. I don't just jump in at the open ever. It sells off a little bit and then starts to curl back up. And I'm on the microphone, and I told everybody in chat, out of all the charts on my screens, HTGM is my favorite right now. If it gets, there are things I love about it, and I'm going to share it right now. This is the kind of things, some of the reasons why I make calls that I do. So giving you a little bit of insight into what goes on in our chat room. So it opened at 450. If you've ever seen any of Wayne's videos, he's the guy I built the course with, and he's the other moderator in our chat room. If you ever seen any of his videos, he talks a lot about whole number inflection points. Well, and we have a couple. Hold on a second. I don't know why I like this. I bring this arrow here pointing to the description below this video, right? We have a link to all of our free webinars, and 2 of them are about inflection points part 1 and 2, and they talk about trading around whole numbers and half numbers. So check out the description to this video and click on the link and go to our free webinars. There's a lot of good free content there. And again, half numbers can be just as much of an inflection point as whole numbers. So they can be a 50 cent or a whole dollar. They both really work the same. So what I loved about HTGM is it opened right at the half, right at 450, right? Went up a little bit and then sold off, starting to curl back up. So oftentimes you'll see a big seller on the tape on level 2, right at half numbers and whole numbers. And that's exactly what we had here on HTGM. Big seller at 450. I said if we take that seller out, there's, just above that is 455 would be a high of day break. And then then everyone hopefully piles in because it's such a strong daily chart. So we're looking for the break of the half. So my idea was 451, looking for a pretty quick move through the highs, and then looking for people to pile in. That gives us a little edge. And you can see what happened, right? From the 450 break, I mean, in that same 5-minute candle all the way to 480. Plenty of money to be had there, but it ended up going up almost to 550. So a really nice move there. There's a perfect example of what we do real time in our chat room. Called that one ahead of time. I never say, oh, guys, I just took XYZ. CNET is another example. CNET had it's hard to see here. I'll use 15-minute candles. Had a really nice move yesterday. Okay, so CNET went from under 240 to almost 290. about a 50-cent move on a $2 stock, that's a big move, right? So it goes on watch today. And now I'll switch to 5-minute candles and show you exactly how I called this one. So this is the opening candle here. Remember, CNET had a nice move. A lot of people watching it. It opened at 273. It's not a whole number inflection point. I'm sorry, it opened at 271 with a high of day 273. Still called this as a red to green. Identified a seller. I believe we had a seller on the tape right at the red to green, right at the 271. I believe that's where it was. Anyway, I called it as a red to green. 272 or 273, something like that. I can't remember now. And you see what happened. Immediately the volume comes in. You guys know if you watch my videos, I like to be green right away. So I sit in cash. I don't guess. I take entries and call trades and take trades at these spots where I should be green right away. And look at the volume that came in as it went red to green. Took out the highs. And everybody says, ooh, here goes CNET again, right? And you get a big push through 3. Another nice one. So there's 2 examples from today of actual calls made in the room. It's a lot different if you've been in rooms where they just call stuff or say, I just bought XYZ and you didn't even know they were going to buy it. We actually focus on education and teaching you to trade. I'm very proud of that. So there's also a link to our chat room in the description. We've got some specials for our YouTube viewers, so check that out too. But also check out our free content. Here's my list for tomorrow. Icon, ICON, big breakout 3 sessions ago, inside day and showing some strength again. Looking for a long trade in that one tomorrow with a proper intraday setup. ATOS, I called it 62 cents today. It went to basically 72, which is a very nice percentage gain. Goes back on watch because the daily looks powerful here. TEVA, nothing interesting here. I hate this stock, but in after hours, there was news released. I think Berkshire Hathaway took a position in this. That's kind of big news, right? So it's trading right now at 21.14. Go to 60-minute candles. For some reason, it gives me a weird reading when I go to 60s. It shows a little bit of after hours or something. Anyway, so you can see it closed at 1932, trading all the way at 21.14. So I don't know, right about somewhere in here. So certainly worth watching for a potential gap and go tomorrow. We'll see. It's not an easy trader, but I definitely want to watch it because of that news and after hours. Probably a lot of shorts in that thing too, by the way. SEDG, also gapping in after hours, closed at 36.90. The last print I saw was 42.50, so we want to watch that one tomorrow. AQMS had a really nice 2-day pop, and then today stayed inside of yesterday's range on lower volume. So I don't know if it's going to come back down or flag or just have another up day, but I think it's worth having on watch. It's showing a lot of strength lately. Fossil, huge volume. We talked about this one being on watch today. Ended up going all the way up to 18. Wow. Before closing it. Closed above its open, so that's kind of interesting. We'll see what happens there. But that's a pretty crowded stock, 42 million shares. One of my least favorite on this list just because everybody and their mother's watching it. ATRS closed at $1.98. Nothing special about this chart, but it's trading at 232 on some good news in after hours. So potential gap and go tomorrow in that one. We'll see if it gets any volume in pre-market. That'll determine whether or not I'm interested in possibly trading it tomorrow. NXTD, a lot of these old, what was deemed as crypto plays, did a little bit of a turn up today. CNET was one of them, actually. I called a trade in this. NXTD also kind of maybe found a bottom and had a little pop today. So I want to watch that one for a possible, you can see a little bit of extra volume today too over the last couple days. So we'll see if we get a follow through in that bounce tomorrow. Not in love with it, but if the cryptos move again, or the old baby cryptos, whatever you want to call them, crypto related stocks, they're worth watching. GNC, after the gap up on, I think a big investment by a Chinese company, just 2 days right back down into support. So that's a little weird to me, but it goes on bounce watch for tomorrow. It's hard to believe that it's not worth a little bit more after that news than it was for 2 or 3 weeks that it spent down here. So we'll see if we get a bounce tomorrow. Not in love with that one either. And then KDMN goes back on bounce watch. It seemed to find support in this. I told you guys in the video last night there's a lot of support in this area. And, it was a little weird today, but it ended up closing about where it opened. That's a weird looking candle, but we're going to watch it for a potential bounce tomorrow now that it seems to have found support. We're going to add some gappers in the pre-market to this list, and there should be plenty to trade. So I'm going to leave it at that. Have a great night. We'll see everybody tomorrow.